2, 1.
Welcome to Made for More Living.
One small step for man.
With Johnny Jennings.
Kick the tires and light the fires, Big Daddy.
The fastest and most exciting hour of news, events, and real estate in Northern California.
And this is a fact that was proved.
Powered by eXp Realty. Online at madeformoreliving.com.
Does everybody know what time it is?
Get ready. Here we go.
Normally on this show, I was told we like to start off with a joke or something sensational, but today I just wanted to give a heartwarming or heartfelt thank you to our guest. Her name's Halley Bulger. She's been with the Made for More team how long now?
Ooh, coming up on my 4-year anniversary.
4-year anniversary. Woo. And in that 4-year period of time, Halley has sold a lot of houses. She's done a great job for her clients. But what Valerie and I most love about Halley is her ethics and her work ethic. Am I saying that correct? So your integrity and your work ethic. And you're just fun. You're just fun to be around, Halley. So thank you for being on the show.
Of course. Thank you for having me for my second time.
Second time, yeah. That's rarefied air. Not a whole lot of people want to come back a second time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Like once is enough for them. But
so what qualities, what characteristics does Halley have that you're looking for on your team? Because some people can hack it, some people can't. And Halley, maybe you can give your perspective to us. What does it take? Because obviously it's not been a great thriving market as of late, right? It's been tough. It's been challenging.
Definitely.
And so what do you have that other folks don't have that haven't been able to hack it? And Johnny, what are those characteristics that you look for that Halley possesses?
So before I say what I'd like to see more agents, Halley, what is it? Because you are by and far the most successful person on the team, right?
Thank you. Thank you.
What do you think? Because everybody else has the access to the resources and the tools and the support you have. What makes you more successful than other people?
Well, a couple things. I learned my work ethic from my parents, so that was, the starting point. But also, like, just surrounding myself with people.
Hold on. How do you define work ethic? Because we throw that around.
Okay.
What does work ethic mean? Because I think it means something different from generation to generation. My kids think they know what work ethic is.
Right? You're like, why do you need a break after you just got here? It's only been an hour. Why are we giving you a break? Yeah, exactly. So roll your sleeves up. The mentality of like, always giving 110% is, something that I thrive. Like at the end of the day, if my tasks aren't done, my husband is literally like, what are you doing? It's 10 o'clock at night. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I didn't finish my task. And it's just like having that inner drive to, move the needle forward. It might be small, it might be big, who knows? But I think honestly for me, following through is a huge, huge thing. And a lot of, I think people today, they say, oh yeah, I'm all in and I want to, give real estate a shot. And then the next thing you know, they don't show up to the meetings. We do have like all the resources and they don't utilize them. And so I really, honestly think it's just the inner drive and then also just being taught, from others and learning from them and being susceptible to, learning the ropes and really honing in on that kind of stuff and being open to it. A lot of people aren't open to, getting in there and getting dirty, and that's what you have to do.
You do.
Wouldn't you also say, because I've experienced this myself as well, is having a level of confidence that as long as you keep persevering, you're going to be successful. You're going to get the job done. As long as you just persevere, you have that confidence because if I just stick with this, if I work hard enough, I'm going to get there.
Yeah. And honestly, now that I've read the book, I think 3 times, The Power of One More by Ed Milet, it was like, okay, just one more call, just just finish one more task for the day and, keep chugging through. And
I really love what you said though, Halley, about follow through. I think that's something that's actually how I make snap judgments on people. I was on a phone call with the guy this morning. He's wanting me to hire him as a coach, and he said, "Hey, here's this great book. I'll text you the link." And so it's easy to do. All he has to do is he knows the book. He can send me the link. Is he going to text me the link? If he doesn't, then my level of confidence in his ability to perform has gone down. But for you,
Yeah,
like
100%.
completing those tasks, showing up daily, that's the level of follow through. And if you do that in your personal life, in your business life, that your clients can count on that as well.
Oh yeah, yeah, and also like I've learned like starting the beginning of your day in the right mindset, and now I do morning affirmations. I've got my gratitude journal that I started with one of our lenders that we work with in like our little group, and it's always like finding something good. We're always going to find something bad. It's like, okay, what is good, and then building off that for the whole rest of the day. It makes you.
It totally reframes your perspective.
Oh,
gratitude.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
So, speaking of that lender, he started a challenge at the beginning of the year.
Oh yeah, the 75 hard challenge.
Yeah, how many people started that, and how many people are still in it?
Oh my gosh. So I think we had like.
So hold on, start off.
Sorry,
what are you talking about?
Yeah, let's back up a little bit. So what is the 75 hard challenge with JJ?
So it started, I think he approached us all in like December asking us if we would want to do like a 75 hard work challenge. So it could be 6 things that you could pertain to work. Some of it could be, working out, physical, and then it kind of the rest based off of like tasks that you want to do for work, and you have to do them every day, and there's a check-in at the end of the day and just hold everybody accountable. So we started a group thread, and I want to say we started with about 30 to 25 people, and then
what's the 75?
75. So
75 work days.
Yeah, 75
okay, gotcha.
work
And if you miss a
days,
day, you're no longer part of the
it
group.
has to start all the way over, and then you would have to keep starting
75 days of consecutive what?
So 6 tasks for the day. So like, one could be prospecting for an hour, or the other could be like 30-minute workout. I chose like 1 hour with my family, 1 hour of prospecting.
So you defined those things.
Yes.
You determined what those 6 things were. And what day are you at right now?
We just finished.
Oh, wow. Good for you. And you
You
completed all 75 days.
No. No. I was the last of, I think there was 4 of us. And then we went to Cabo. And when we went to Cabo, everyone took that like week off. And we started it back up. And then there was like 2 of us. And then everybody else was like, I guess no one else is doing this. So we made it to probably day like 60 something, I would say. But
my point is that Halley was like the last person standing in that group.
Oh,
yeah, there was, I think, 4 agents and then JJ. So total of 5
It's hard when you go on a vacation. You're out of your routine.
Yeah.
And they even knew going into it, right? You said, hey, we're going to hit pause for a week.
Yeah.
So we can because some people were like not
picked it back up.
drinking alcohol. Some people were focusing on other things. And it's like, hey, we're at an all-inclusive resort. We paid a lot of money to be here.
We got to get our money's worth, right?
Money's worth, so. But at the end of the day, Halley, and you've actually mentioned this about me before, and I didn't even think, it was not on my radar, but the follow through is critical. If an agent tells you they're going to do something, if they're going to be there, are they on time? Do they show up? If they're going to do an open house, are they there for the open house on time? If they are going to provide you with weekly market updates, are they doing that?
Yeah, exactly. Well, and I think too now, like just looking for other agents, like my daughter's going to get licensed, and I've got another gentleman that's going to get his license too, and they're always asking like, what can we do? What can we show up to? What can we learn? That is a quality that I look for in an agent. And then there's other times where I've talked to other agents and they'll be like trying to recruit other people to be on their team, and I'm like, well, how's it going with them? Well, they didn't call me back, or they didn't show up to the meeting. I'm like, okay, well, there's your sign right there. You don't need anything else.
Yeah.
Like, they're not going to be a fit for you guys.
Correct.
You're your own boss in essence, and you're not even showing up to work. How are you going to get paid?
Exactly. Yep.
So.
And so, but Halley's also really involved in the community. So she's always pushing us to do like give back drives into the community, and there's a lot of opportunities out there, a lot of options. And Halley actually decided, hey, I'm going to do this. I'm going to make my own. And so we just completed the 2nd annual River Day cleanup.
Why is it a need for you to be so involved in the community?
Honestly, I just love giving back. It feels so good. And when I was growing up, I always had my grandparents and great-grandparents around. And so I guess it was just like the nurturing in me to always like help and take care of them. And so I figured I don't have any of them around anymore. So what else can I do besides like give my time in the community and help people that are either in need or things that are free, such as like cleaning up the river, luckily we got support and sponsors, and we could get trash bags and, the little picker-up sticks this time around we're learning
those
as we
so
go.
handy, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah, they are.
Last year you were picking up with your hands?
Yes,
we didn't even have gloves.
Yeah.
I walked into like the Save Mart right there, and I just bought a bunch of gloves because we didn't even have gloves to pick
He comes
up.
out, he's like, I've got gloves. And I'm like, okay.
We've got like a half a dozen of those picker-uppers in our garage because we'll go to the park and we'll bring like a grocery bag.
Oh, that's so
and
smart.
We'll just pick it. And the kid, it's enjoyable,
It's
isn't
like
it?
satisfying.
It is
You're like,
Having an
yes, I
extra
got
arm
that
is just
tiny.
very cool. It makes it fun, you know?
Yeah.
So
or especially if it's like glass or something. I don't really want to pick that up either. So
Yeah.
it's nice having those.
But it was fun. So we did that at the confluence, right?
Yeah, down at the American River Confluence in Auburn. And first year we had about probably 12 people. And this year we had, I think, 25 sign up. And we had about 22 people
Yeah,
show up.
it was a good group. It's getting bigger.
Yeah, it's growing,
It's a movement.
People are like picking up trash.
But yeah, so and then we've actually got the dates for next year's done, right?
Yeah,
Set
so
down.
it's March 26th of 2026.
Boom.
It'll be a Saturday as well. And now that I've talked with the Park and Rec and some other agencies, they're going to try to get us a shuttle van so we can limit the parking.
Yeah.
And then, because that's always the issue.
Right there, definitely.
Yeah. And we didn't know there was going to be a running event, so it kind of...
Made it even more
made it a little
interesting.
more difficult, but
That-
it adds character, you know?
And that was fun too. So like people like running down the trails and we're picking up trash.
They're cheering us on.
and
like,
we're cheering
yes!
them on. Yeah, it was good. It was fun.
It was a win-win for the day. And it was beautiful out and all the flowers, and we had little kids, and so it's instilling that in them. And
Yeah, your kids showed up. My
Yeah.
kids showed up. JJ's children showed up.
yeah, all the kids loved it.
Yeah.
And it's fun, and it's quality time you get to spend with your kids and people out of the office that we don't usually get that time. So
Exactly. Yep. And then you have another event coming up that we're sponsoring on May 8th, right?
Yes. So we've got a cornhole tournament coming up, and this is going to sponsor the Special Olympics, and this will be at Hildenbrand in Newcastle,
Yep.
and it'll be May 8th from 4 to 7. I think there's still openings for if you actually want to be in the cornhole tournament. It's $30 a person, and then there'll be prizes and,
Like
of course,
what?
drinks.
What can I win? Because I'm pretty competitive. And I'm a pretty good cornhole player.
Are you really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I played
You look
with
at me
the
like
media.
I
I played it.
Like he's going to take you down or
You
something.
look at me like, don't you know who I am?
Yeah, hello.
I'm at freaking
pretty
cornhole
competitive.
You know all my
Bijou.
awards in my office? No, but I competed in the media league over at Cal Expo for the state fair. We did pretty good. So
in cornhole.
cornhole, yeah.
Oh, shoot. Well, I might have to recruit you on my
Yeah,
team.
come on,
I was
Matt.
thinking
Well,
my husband, but he might be out.
For a while, the state fair had a I don't know if they do it anymore, but they had a big cornhole tournament when cornhole was at its peak and everybody wanted to
Yeah.
play cornhole. So
Yeah, there's a whole
You know.
tactic for the throwing of the bag.
yeah, absolutely.
Do you have that down so you could train me?
Well,
I've got
I'm
like
not
a
gonna
month.
Share any of that
Oh,
on
gosh.
the air.
It's proprietary.
on.
Oh, man. Yeah.
He's like,
Yeah, you should totally come out, Matt.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
we need
What's
teams.
the am I going to win a fat trophy or something I can put in my office?
Of course.
'Cause
If
I
not,
gotta
we'll make
have
you a
bragging
plaque.
rights. That's what it's all about.
We'll get
It's
you a
really not
trophy.
even about the prize. It's about bragging rights. Do I have some evidence that hey, I'm grand champion?
We'll
of
get
the-
you. We'll get you a trophy.
Yeah,
The
not
biggest-
a mug, not a made for more mug.
the biggest
I
trophy
don't
you've
need
ever
that,
seen.
even with the gold handle.
We'll get you the biggest trophy you've ever seen and a side of Bengays.
It'll something you picked up at the Goodwill, one of these used bowling trophies.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
what it's good.
It's like missing a head on the top. Yeah.
Here you go. Congratulations.
But anyways, so
Yeah.
I mean, it just speaks to Haley's character and her desire to help others. You know, doing
Yeah.
putting together the River Day cleanup, sponsoring a tournament where the proceeds go towards the children competing in the Special Olympics. It's just
I think people
Yeah.
appreciate
Really cool.
that more, not only with individuals, but with companies as well. They want to see that you're not only just interested in making a profit and being successful financially, but they want to see how are you making an impact in your community. Even
Yeah.
employees, they've said in recent studies that they want to work for companies who are successful and will provide them a great paycheck, obviously, and a good work environment, but are also doing something above and beyond to help make the world a better place. And so
Yeah,
I think that's a
exactly.
great example of, Johnny, you having someone on your team who cares about that, and even just looking at the name of your company, Made for More.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not just about, being successful and selling as many houses as you can, but it's caring about people and making an impact on our world.
Yeah,
And
for
it-
the next generation too.
And it just feels good too.
It
Like
does,
helping people
honestly.
feels good. Generosity feels good.
It is.
So I don't know who's the biggest beneficiary out of that: the people that are receiving the generosity or the people bestowing it. But
Yeah.
when we-
Jesus once said it's better to give than to receive.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. He didn't say that. That's not in the Bible.
he didn't say that. Who said that? Somebody said it's better to give than to
Probably
receive.
one of our grandparents.
All right, there
Exactly.
you go.
That's what they just told us, right?
Well, after we come back from the break, we will have the answer to who said, "Is it better to give than to receive?"
Real estate is personal. We all get that. There's many different personal factors that go into selling or buying a home. It's not like going and buying or selling a car. So that's why we've always recommend Johnny Jennings and the Tom Daves team at Made for More Realty. They get it. They want to take away the stress and the worry and the anxiety when it comes to selling your home. That's why right now they're going to make it super easy and simple by giving you at least 3 cash offers for your home in as-is condition. No need to do repairs. Get it organized, staging, open houses. Again, at least 3 cash offers on your home in as-is condition. So all you got to do is Google Johnny Jennings and the Tom Daves team at Made for More Realty and get more for your home.
This is Made for More Living with Johnny Jennings, powered by eXp Realty. Online at madeformoreliving.com.
So during the break, Matt, we looked it up. It is more blessed to give than to receive.
It's better to give than to receive. We've heard it many a times from our parents and grandparents, right?
Yep.
Especially at Christmas time when we don't get what we want, right? I thought that was just an old wives' tale. I didn't realize that, hey, it is from the Bible.
Yeah, Acts
Yeah.
20,
The Apostle
35.
Paul said that Jesus said it in Acts. So there you go. That's one of the reasons why I'm not a pastor.
That's okay.
I didn't go to
That was not your
theology,
calling.
seminary, whatever.
Yep. But it's okay. So we've set the record straight. Apostle Paul said, Jesus said, it's better to give than to receive. But speaking of helping people, giving, shall we say, there are so many sellers out there who are frustrated because maybe their property value is starting to slip. They're not getting the price that maybe their neighbor's house sold for. And on the other hand, there's buyers who are frustrated because prices are still really high. Interest rates are still really high. So Haley has figured out a way to fix this. So Haley, do you mind going into some of your seller financing options that you've provided clients?
Yeah, exactly. I'm doing one actually right now for a family member, and we're getting the file all set up. But what is transpiring is this person, for tax reasons, would like to not have the burden of having a tenant anymore in their home and would rather have somebody purchase the home. So, the taxes, insurance, repair costs, all that is on the new buyer.
Yeah.
But in a way that they could still make a little bit of interest on the money, shield themselves from capital gains. So there's a lot of benefits doing this way if you structure it properly, you have the right team behind you, and plus they're going to give them a better interest rate too.
Yep.
So there's huge benefits to it. And
For
so-
everybody.
Oh, yeah.
So let's break that down really quick. So if you're looking to sell a house and you have a lot of equity in the house, maybe it was a rental, maybe it was your primary residence and you're moving somewhere else. What a lot of sellers, because it's $250 as an individual, $500,000 if you're married filing jointly. That's not a lot of money in today's market. Like that's not you can easily clear that $500,000 and still have capital gains on top of it. And so what some people are choosing to do now is instead of taking that lump sum of money and then paying a bunch of taxes on it, is receive some funds up front, like a down payment, and then just seller finance the rest.
Yeah.
And then so now they're getting paid more over time. They become the bank, but also they're paying less in taxes.
Yeah, and it works out wonderfully for a lot of people that honestly might not fit the standard loan, and they might be self-employed. We have a lot of people that are actually self-employed or entrepreneur or starting a new venture, and they cannot get typical financing. So this works really well for them, and it's a benefit to actually both parties. We get to have them get into home ownership, and then also they don't have to wait years and throw away money on rent, and so it actually helps out a lot.
There's a couple different ways you can structure this. So if you're listening and you have like a 2, a 3, a 4% interest rate, well, what we're able to do is and let's say your house isn't paid off, we can do a wrap mortgage.
Yeah.
So your buyer of your property is maybe going to pay you 5 or 6, like a point or 2 higher.
Yeah.
And that's still below market rate.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and then you don't have any of the lender fees associated, or you don't need to do a credit to, buy the rate down. You're already getting the rate lower, which
Great point.
Awesome. More money in your pocket.
So it's a win-win for both the sellers and the buyers, and there's 2 ways to go about it. One, the seller, can hold the note and do the servicing of the debt, or there's a company out there that we can connect you with that handles that. So if you want to be completely hands-off.
All hands off, and then you don't have to worry, then you don't have that pressure anymore of having that awkward conversation when you don't get paid your mortgage on the 1st or the 5th of the month. They are servicing it for you, and so they take care of all of that. And they do actually have a expedited clause where if they don't pay, they can actually foreclose, and you can get the property back in a timely manner instead of having to wait the lengthy process of typical foreclosure for a bank.
Oh, that's so cool. I didn't know they offered that as well.
Yeah, so that's a huge benefit too, because I think most sellers, that's what they're most scared of, is they'll get stuck or just the unknown, really. And so this kind of puts a little bit of more ease for them to feel comfortable moving forward in this direction.
Mm-hmm. So the seller's protected, the buyer's protected. As long as everybody performs, everybody's good.
Yeah.
Right.
And honestly, if they don't, now you just made interest on your house for the last couple of years, and then you get it back, and hey, maybe the economy is even better and you have more equity and you can do it again, Yep. So you always have to look at things in the light of how can we make this a positive?
Mm-hmm. And we were talking this morning on our so we do a morning huddle every single day on the Made for More team, and we were talking about how we like to prepare our clients, not what if, but even if.
Exactly.
And so this is one of those even if scenarios. Even if the market goes up, even if the market goes down, even if that buyer decides, hey, you know what, I no longer want this house, you are protected. And not only are you protected, but you could be in a financially better situation.
Yeah, 100%. And honestly, I remember, I think it was 2008, I did a seller finance, and it just didn't work out. The people decided they changed where they wanted to live. And so they, ended up moving out, and the sellers made interest on the property. They got it back, and their house was worth $150,000 more. So it was a win-win for them, to be honest.
Yeah. So Haley has that awesome information. If you guys want to reach out to Haley, just Google Made for More. You'll see her. You'll call. Just ask for her by name, and we'll get you connected with Haley as soon as possible. And another reason why you're going to want to get connected with Haley is because she has an incredible off-market list, and she works it like a hungry dog on the back of a meat truck.
Yes,
so these are properties that have not gone on the MLS yet?
You cannot find them on...
How do you get those properties?
Well, you got to contact me, of
There you go.
How do you find those properties? Is that just a matter of going to sellers and talking to them?
No. So actually, it started with talking to another agent out of another brokerage who I looked up to, and she always had listings coming, and I was like, hey, how could I provide value to her that she'd want to help me on the back end with my buyers? And so I approached her. I said, hey, I have these houses coming in the next 2-3 months if you have any buyers. And I kept doing that over and over with her, and then she started reciprocating. And so then I would, anytime I got something new, I would start texting agents and telling them, hey, I have this coming. Do you have any buyers? And then it built off of one agent to now, I think on the the largest group we have right now is like 42 agents
Wow.
on there. So
Yeah.
it's grown quite a bit, and there's like 172 properties on there.
Wow.
They're all over too. So it's expanding, and it's, a great resource for buyers because they don't have the bidding war, and they get to see stuff that, isn't on the market and not on Zillow or Realtor.
Sometimes the MLS or the Zillow can feel like you're shopping leftovers.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And
Well, you are.
that's because Haley's already sold it off market, and you didn't even know it hit the market.
Yeah.
So then I'm interested in what her perspective is this going to be a growing thing where more and more people are basically selling their homes off of they're not using MLS because of the competition from Zillow and different other companies like that?
I think it will grow. However, it's like anything else. People love tradition, and so they want top dollar. And to be honest, usually the best exposure is going live to the market. And if you don't want that and you want to be maybe more discreet, or you don't want your neighbor to know, like I have a client right now and she's like, meet me at the back of the alley and like I'll let you in the house. And I'm like,
knocked 3 times.
Yeah, I'm like, okay. And she's like, has all the lights off. And I'm like, is everything okay? She's like, yeah, I just don't want my neighbors to know that I'm selling the house. And I'm like, okay. So we're indiscreet with that. And so it's fine. That off market works great for her because, I'll be able to expose her home to people that are interested in buying, but also protect her and make her feel comfortable.
Yep.
And that's what it's about.
Yeah. I don't think it's going to be like a massive trend where everybody's doing this, but it is a growing trend because now it's so easier to communicate all this stuff.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Exactly.
and the MLS has kind of shot themselves in the foot. A couple of years ago, they passed that clear cooperation thing where they just made it very black and white. It's all this way and none of that way. All it has to be on the MLS. There's no coming soon. There's no pre-list.
Yeah.
And so they kind of caused this problem, honestly, because it's not everybody wants that one size fits all solution.
Yeah.
And so this is just the genesis of figuring out a way around that to give clients what they want.
Sure.
Exactly. Yeah, because every person is so different, their needs and their wants, and you just really need to hone in on listening to what the client wants, because I'm employed for them, and I should be doing the best for them.
I have a question about your ability to network with other realtors because...
A good question. She's one of the best I know at this.
Yeah, because you talked about connecting with 40 other realtors to create this community of helping each other, right? Do some realtors feel like, well, everybody's my competition. I'm not going to talk to anybody, and I'm in a silo, and it's just me, and talking to someone else is like helping the competition. How do you balance that? Because in some way, they are the competition, right?
Yeah, I think you just realize who wants in and who doesn't, and you put that out there, and all I can do is present it to them, and if they don't want to respond or they feel it's like threatening, then I'm like, okay, I understand, I respect it, and you just move on, and you realize that that's not a person that you want to work with and offer that to, and that's okay. Not everybody gets it. Like when I used to call and I'd have a listing and I'd do reverse prospecting within the MLS, so I could literally call agents and be like, hey, you have a buyer, you have a portal set up for them, and they're like, oh, I do, and they were taken back.
Explain really briefly though, because I think people listening to this, like, they don't realize that we have access to this special tool that enables us to find other real estate agents who may have buyers for our property.
So what you do is on the MLS, when you've listed the property, you have a tool where you can go in and put all the credentials and criteria for the home in the MLS. Auto-populates all the agents that have set up listing searches for their clients specifically. And then that populates a whole list of all these agents, and it has their number, and then I go and dial them up, and I'm like, hey, I've got a home for you. Your buyer's looking for a 3-2 in Auburn, on an acre. And then they're like, wait, what? And so it's just another, way for me to connect with them, but also get them the information, because your emails get bogged down, and you're not always like, if you have a bunch of buyers, sometimes things slip through the cracks, and I'm just making you aware, hey, maybe you have somebody.
So rather than just passively waiting for agents to find Haley's listings, she's out there hunting down buyers for her sellers, right?
Being proactive, And just going back to being able to work with others and network, I think if you look at any industry, those who are successful are not those who are trying to do it alone, right?
No matter, definitely do not go alone.
Right, looking for mentors and people to come alongside and network, and you've discovered that, right?
Yeah.
And we're not broker specific.
No.
I think some people are more, so there's some people that don't collaborate at all with anybody. And then there's some people that only do it within their own brokerage. And then there's like the Haleys out there who are like, hey, I don't care who you are, as long as you are ethical, do a good job for your clients, and and we can work together.
That's smart. Goal is to find my seller a buyer. So the more people and agents that I can talk to, the higher probability that I have that's going to happen.
Right.
So, anyways, that's a benefit to working with Haley. Again, if you want to work with Haley, if you're considering buying or selling, it's never too early to have that conversation. Just go to madeformorerealty.com or call 855-935-MORE and ask for Haley.
Real estate is personal. We all get that. There's many different personal factors that go into selling or buying a home. It's not like going and buying or selling a car. So that's why we've always recommend Johnny Jennings and the Tom Daves team at Made for More Realty. They get it. They want to take away the stress and the worry and the anxiety when it comes to selling your home. That's why right now they're going to make it super easy and simple by giving you at least 3 cash offers for your home in as-is condition. No need to do repairs. Get it organized, staging, open houses. Again, at least 3 cash offers on your home in as-is condition. So all you got to do is Google Johnny Jennings and the Tom Daves team at Made for More Realty and get more for your home.
This is Made for More Living with Johnny Jennings, powered by eXp Realty. Online at madeformoreliving.com.
Every single time I sit down and I meet with homeowners, one of the questions I always ask is this property held in a trust? And most of the time, people say no. And that really surprises me given how beneficial a trust can be. And so on the show today, we're still with Halley Bulger, and you actually have an interesting trust story.
Oh, yeah.
So can you explain a little bit about how a home becomes part of a trust?
Yeah, Halley, take it away.
Okay.
Just real quick.
So when you purchase a home, you can vest it several different ways. Most of our clients buy it, husband and wife, and they're 50-50. So if a spouse dies, the property just automatically goes to the husband or the wife. Within the trust, it's protecting your largest asset, but also so it's not subject to probate. And then also there's tax benefits for it, and there's what else is it? Where basically you protect, so your name, like if you were to get sued or something like that, they couldn't go after your actual asset of your home because so many people have equity.
Yeah.
And so the biggest thing that I learned from taking the trust class is that you never want to put a trust in your actual name. So it'll be like the Halley Bulger Family Trust. You absolutely do not want to do that. And the trust that I do see, 9 times out of 10, they're in their full name.
That is what it is. Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, who did this and why did your trust guy let you do this?
So how do you name it then?
Oh, you just, randomly pick out
the Made for More Foundation.
We're trees. I'm a tree,
Yeah. Willow? Is it Willow?
I'm Willow. Yeah.
She's Willow.
Well, now
tree.
everybody can come after me. No, just kidding.
She's Redwood. Haley's Redwood. Yeah. But so basically, Haley's right. So for example, there's an estate sale taking place down the street from where Valor and I live, and we're trying to figure out, okay, maybe this person's looking to sell the house. What's going on here?
Yeah.
We could not figure out who the homeowner was because it was held in a trust, and the trust did not have the name of the homeowner on it. Normally, if it has the name of the homeowner, which normally it does, we can do this thing called skip tracing, where you're able to find that person's information and give them a call. We couldn't do that, so Valor had to roll the stroller down the street and show up to the estate sale and talk to the neighbor and figure out what's going on there. So trusts are great for privacy. Honestly, most of the time, what we end up using it, why I see most people use it, is to avoid probate.
Yeah, because it's huge amount of money that people don't realize that they're giving up to the attorneys and to the courts for them executing the probate, and also they don't realize that it's on a tier. So if your house is worth more, you're paying the attorney more. You're paying for the courts more.
And it just takes longer. You're not in control.
Gosh. And it's a nightmare for your kids and your family. Like, now you lost your spouse or your loved one, and now you're having to deal with that. And attorneys, nobody wants attorneys when you pass away.
Yeah. And just to put like a dollar amount to it, I heard once the average cost, like this is the average, this isn't low, this isn't high, this is average cost of probate is $27,000. And what's the cost for a typical trust, Haley? Like $1,500, $2,000? So
yeah, I call it the a la carte trust. So it depends on if like you want to just specifically only do your main property in a trust. You can get it as low as like $600. If you want to encompass everything, your cars and your financials and your 401k and all that kind of stuff, it runs between $1,800 to $2,500. And then it's also like if you're single versus married. So it's kind of like a tier, but you know, everything's workable.
So for $2,000,
yeah,
you know, you're saving $25,000 on average.
And that's like the minimum, because then you get family involved.
Yeah.
And then the family starts going after certain things, and then that costs more money. So it just goes up from there, to be honest.
Yeah. So it really makes sense for people to have their assets in a trust. And that's something Haley's really pushing hard to, because you've experienced the benefits and some of the negatives about trusts, and but this is something that we can actually do at the closing table, right? Yeah.
So now we can incorporate it. We've got a company that we're working with that simultaneously we can do it throughout the transaction, and the listing agent we don't actually need much from the seller at all. The title company will get the documents from the trust company, and they will simultaneously close it at the same time, and then we just communicate throughout the whole process. Like if they want to add certain people or add other assets in there, we can facilitate that as well. So it's a huge benefit to people. And I will tell you, out of being in real estate for 18, 19 years, I've seen about 5-6 transactions in a trust, and everybody else does not have a trust. So it's a pretty much a huge deal right now.
So tell us your story.
Okay, so the story is that my grandparents, after 42 years of being married, got a divorce, and they had a will in place, and they never thought, well, we should redo it after we got divorced.
Oh, man.
So they ended up apart for probably 5-7 years, and my sister was getting ready to graduate. It was like 2008, and my grandpa ended up having a stroke. And when we went to the hospital, they're like, hey, he's probably not going to make it. He's, had a major bleed, and 9 times out of 10, we do not see them recover. So we were all bracing for the worst. And he ended up making it through the night, thank God. And come to find out, Grandpa had not updated any of his stuff from the divorce. And so thank goodness, he came back and was able to redo his trust and all that kind of stuff. But had he not come back, it would have been a drag-out fight, because some of the assets and things were still in my grandma's name. Some of the people weren't even around. So updating your trust and having everything, up to date is huge. And then I also have another client right now getting ready to list his house, and he doesn't have his home in a trust, and he accidentally put his daughter on title. And now the daughter is refusing to sell the house, and he needs to go to assisted living. And because she won't sign off on it, he's basically living in this massive home by himself, paying high utility costs, has no help. And, right now he's like, well, do I hire an attorney? What do I do? And
just to be clear, she's not wanting to put him in the home because the home's expensive and the house will pay for the home, or? Well,
she caught wind of amount of equity and now wants to be paid out before his death, but that wasn't his wishes. But because he doesn't have a trust in place, they won't allow us to remove her. So it's a big deal now because he's pretty much stuck until he either hires an attorney or has to pay her out, because how she's vested on title, she's entitled to 50% of his equity.
Wow.
So it's huge, and so I've just been trying to help give him resources to, be able to hopefully sell his house down the road and get him into a place that he can get, 24-hour care, because he's up there in age and he can't drive anymore. And, it's a big falling's a huge thing. I left for Mexico and I called to check in and he had broke his arm and, so, and also like, I don't know who to call, like if something were to happen, if I show up at his house and I'm like checking in on him, like I don't know who to even call because he doesn't have anything in place.
Yeah. So it's just really important if you are buying a house or if you own a home, like just, get that trust.
Yeah. Bite the bullet, pay the money, or, we even have like, instead of gifting my clients like a home warranty credit, I would do a trust credit, and that way it alleviates money out of their pocket, but also protects them. Yep.
Way more than maybe what a home warranty would.
Yeah. Exactly.
So, all right. So if anybody wants to reach out to you, Halley, just go to Made for More Realty. You can call us. You can Google us. You'll see Halley has tons of 5-star reviews on our website, and just ask for Halley Bulger.
Hey, before you go see a movie in the theater, do you ever go online and check out the Rotten Tomato reviews? I do, because I don't want to waste my money on a bad movie. Well, how about when it comes to selling your home? Are you doing the research when it comes to finding a qualified, experienced, effective real estate agent? Well, there's a reason why Johnny Jennings and the Tom Daves team at Made for More Realty have over 1,000 5-star Google reviews, why they were voted #1 team in Roseville for 3 straight years. So if you'd like to get at least 3 cash offers on your home in as-is condition, just Google Johnny Jennings and the Tom Daves team at Made for More Realty and get more for your home.
This is Made for More Living with Johnny Jennings, powered by eXp Realty. Online at madeformoreliving.com.
Matt, it is definitely an interesting time to be alive.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
With everything that's happening geopolitically, tariffs, taxes.
So would you say it's good interesting or bad interesting?
I'll say we'll see. I mean, it could.
Good answer.
I think what's happening is an interesting. I think it's very, very interesting as long as it doesn't get violent. Like I see some protests and stuff, and people getting violent. As long as countries don't start arming and fighting each other over this type of stuff, I think this is a healthy, like, reset of the economy. That's my own 2 cents. But if it gets violent, then that, because here's where my mind instantly goes, is I have 2 little boys.
Yeah.
What happens in the next 10, 15, 18 years could have a direct impact on them.
Right.
And so I'm just trying to figure that out.
I mean, economically or even bigger picture than that?
Economically, militarily, things like that.
Well, I don't think anyone can doubt that we are pretty divisive. We're pretty divided as far as a country right now. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
And people are just, I think social media has contributed to that, right? Where people don't have as much self-control, or they don't hold things back when it comes to voicing their opinions on social media. People just spit out anything that's on their mind, and that's not healthy, right? So it's not like a good way to dialogue and have conversations.
Well, I don't necessarily think it's what's being said. I think it's how it's being said.
I would agree.
Like you're just spewing your perspective, and there's nobody to talk to about it.
Right.
And so the people that agree with you are going to watch that. The people who don't are going to watch something else, rather than have like a discourse.
Right.
And like,
correct.
Okay, we probably agree on more than we realize, but I'll never know that because you and I have different beliefs and you won't talk to me.
Right. Yeah. So it's interesting because people seem to be nervous, especially during COVID, to voice their opinions because they, at least when it comes to politics, is they weren't sure what the repercussions would be for that. Am I going to get a lot of flack for saying I support Trump? I remember my dad having his Trump flag out at his house, and I told him, Dad, you got to be careful. There's people out there who hate Trump, and you put your flag out there, you never know, they could vandalize your house or your car or something like that.
Yep.
And my dad's older, and I care for his safety, so I advised him, hey, maybe just put up the American flag. But there's been that conversation of, is it okay to voice your political views? And some people say, yeah, hey, now more than ever, we need to not hold back anymore. We need to voice our opinions, whether you're conservative or Democrat. And that can be scary, though, especially if you're a business owner.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because obviously, if you're a business owner, you want the largest number of customers you can get. Republican, Democrat, Independent.
In all fairness, though, it's not just business owners. Like teachers. Teachers have gotten into hot water for decades over sharing their beliefs.
Sure.
Nurses, doctors are now getting in trouble for sharing their beliefs. But I totally, for me, I look at it through the business owner's lens, because that's what Valerie and I are. So,
so you have decided to stay away from that?
So the problem that I see people do when they try to share their beliefs, I think there's a lot of power and a lot of freedom in it, because you're being authentic. You're not, tiptoeing around and trying to please everybody, and as a result, really connecting with nobody. But the thing that I haven't figured out how to do is how to communicate my beliefs in a way that is respectful and that isn't seen as because it's just instantly, if you disagree with somebody, it's almost considered hate speech.
Right, correct. Because let's say you have a client who's a big supporter of Donald Trump, and you start having a conversation about how you agree with the job Joe Biden's been doing, or the other way around, where you have somebody who's a big Joe Biden fan and they love the job that he's done, or they're a big Kamala Harris fan, and you talk about how you're proud of the way Trump's been handling immigration or whatever. People are really quick to take offense to that, and they think, well, you don't hold the same values, obviously, that I do, so I'm not going to trust you to sell my home. And it's interesting. We talked about this months ago about this guy in Idaho who decided, I'm going to take a risk. I'm going to be extra boisterous on my political opinions. And he said, hey, I think this was in Idaho. If you're a Democrat, I'll pay to move you out of the state. And it worked for him. He got a lot of calls from not necessarily Democrats, but Republicans who like this guy. And so I think for a business owner, do you think it's worth the risk to be extra boisterous on where you stand politically, hoping to gain the enthusiasm and the attraction of those who share your values? Like, for instance, I look at Destiny Christian Church in Rockland, right?
Yeah.
Most of the time, churches try not to be political.
Correct.
They try to stay away from that from the pulpit. But Destiny, at one point, I think especially during COVID, they said, enough of this. We are not closing our doors. We are going to be more boisterous about supporting Donald Trump and those issues, and not wearing masks, and the vaccination issue. And
Black Lives Matter.
Right. Being more conservative. And they got some flack, but they got more attention as far as people agreeing with them and actually going. So their church has grown because of how vocal they decided to be on their convictions on those conservative values. So it's a question. What does a business owner do? I have not taken a stance on this because I haven't seen something that would really, at the end of the day, what you say and what is heard are often two very, very different things. Like Valerie and I have been married. We just celebrated. Oh shoot! It was just a couple days. It was recently. We got married in 13. It's 25, so 12. 12 years. We've been married 12 years, and still, I will say something, or she will say something, and I'll hear something completely different. Yeah.
And that's like two people, regular communication, know each other better than anybody else does, and like we still miscommunicate. And so, is it a good idea? You really have to be committed to that. Again, I'm not 100% one way or the other. I think ultimately it probably is.
It is what?
It is a good idea.
Really?
Yeah.
Because there's been another business here in Sacramento that I heard talking about how adamantly against they are of transgender men playing in women's sports, and how strong they are on that issue. And if you agree with me, if you hold that same value, that same perspective, I'd love to do business with you. So they took a leap out there to do some marketing saying that, hey, this is what I believe. And if you agree with me, do business with me. But at the same time, they're taking the risk of offending potential customers as well, right?
Yeah. I think for me, again, the main thing is the tone in which it is said. and the tone that's conveyed. So like there are people out there very pro Black Lives Matter, very pro All Lives Matter. Like, what is the overall tone of that? Like, is there room for improvement with the police? Is there room for understanding about the situation from the police officer's perspective, like doing that job day in and day out?
Right.
And so again, I think it's really important, the tone. Because at the end of the day, like, what hill are you going to die on? Like, what are your non-negotiables as a person? And so for somebody, that may be the transgender issue. So for some people, it might be the Black Lives issue. So for some people, it may be tariffs. I don't know.
Pro-life issue. That's a pretty big one.
Or pro-life. But at the end of the day, for Valerie and I, what we want to do is we want to make sure that we are reflecting like Christ's love.
Sure.
And doing that more than anything else.
So then what you're saying is, no, you won't take that risk. You'd stay away from that.
Well, just coming out and saying you're a Christian is going to offend some people and align with other people.
Good point. Yeah.
But for me, that's the hill that I'm more willing to die on than
saying, hey,
than tariffs or political, like Republican or Democrat. Like, to me, that's not that important.
Right.
At the end of the day, like,
but they've used that as it's kind of like they're using it as a marketing strategy.
Marketing strategy to find their tribe, to resonate with people, to say, hey, I stand with you on this issue. But that's not the hill that I'm interested in.
Yeah, because
planting my flag.
In a sense, it's kind of like a gimmick, right? When you agree, where you're trying to be more authentic and genuine, and you don't need some kind of gimmick to try to promote yourself.
Yeah, I wouldn't even
like the guy in Idaho.
That's kind of gimmicky. But again, it just comes down to like what really is important to you, and does that translate in how you treat people and in your messaging? And I think at the end of the day, that is what, like, to use the Christ example, there's billions of people who are followers of Christ, Republicans and Democrats. And I think it was more the message of Christ. What he did is more unifying than whether you're pro-tariffs, anti-tariffs,
right.
Pro whatever the issue may be. And so that, again, I'm not trying to be non-committal or too broad, but there's just, right now, Black Lives Matter, people were all in on that, and then it turned out things weren't the same as what people thought they were.
Right.
Like, there was some fraud there. Were their intentions good? Maybe, but there was also some fraud there. And so I'm trying to pick something that is going to stand the test of time and has already withstood the test of time, rather than something that's just, the flavor of the day.
Good point. I like that.